Black millionaire CEO harassed for relaxing by his pool. Then he turns the tables on them. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's get into the story. It's a sunny afternoon, and the prestigious mansion of Adrian Lewis, a self-made millionaire, is basking under the golden rays. The kind of mansion that seems to have stepped out of a magazine. Infinity pool glistening, perfectly manicured lawns, and a sense of calm floating in the air. Adrian, a man known for his business empire in the tech industry, is lounging by the poolside, enjoying the rare luxury of a moment to himself. But little did he know, today would not be like any other. A few yards away, a group of wealthy guests is gathered for an afternoon barbecue. The laughter and chatter fill the air, but something in the conversation shifts. One of the men, dressed in a tailored suit with a smug grin on his face, notices Adrian lounging by the pool. He sneers, his voice carrying across the yard. Must be nice to just sit around, huh? All that money, and you still don't do anything real. The group laughs, the sound almost mocking. Adrian doesn't react. He remains lying on his lounge chair, hands behind his head, eyes closed, but his mind sharp. He's used to the dismissive comments, the subtle insults disguised as jokes. He knows the game. But today, something is different. The man continues, how does it feel to have everything handed to you, while the rest of us actually work for it? The laughter grows louder, and Adrian can feel the sting of judgment, but he chooses to remain calm. These comments were nothing new to him. He had heard them all before. The whispers, the jokes, the assumptions about how easy his life must be. But today, he wasn't going to just let it slide. With a slow, deliberate motion, Adrian sits up on the edge of his chair, adjusting his sunglasses. He looks at the man, his expression unbothered. You think this is all easy? Adrian's voice is steady, but the challenge in his tone is unmistakable. The man stares at him, surprised by the sudden attention. He had expected Adrian to stay silent, as he always did. But today, Adrian had decided it was time for a change. He stands up, walks over to the grill where the group is gathered, and looks each one of them in the eye. Without saying a word, he grabs the grill tongs and flips the steaks, his actions slow, deliberate, almost calculated. The group watches in confusion as Adrian takes control of the situation, his presence commanding the space. Then he speaks. You all think money makes everything easy, but you've got it all wrong. It's not the money that makes me successful. It's the years of hard work, the risks, the sleepless nights. This, he gestures around, is the result of decades of blood, sweat, and sacrifice. The group falls silent, the air thick with tension. The man who had mocked him earlier tries to laugh it off, but it's a nervous chuckle. Yeah, right. You think we don't work hard too. Adrian smiles, but it's not a friendly smile. I know you all work hard, but there's a difference between working hard and working smart. And sometimes, working smart means not playing by the rules the way you think you should. He pauses, letting the weight of his words sink in. I didn't get here by being like everyone else. I did it by seeing opportunities where others saw obstacles. And that's what you don't get. The group shifts uncomfortably. The confidence that Adrian exudes is undeniable, and for the first time, they realize they had underestimated him. They had assumed his success came easy, but now they see that there's much more beneath the surface. With that, Adrian turns and walks back to his poolside lounge, leaving them in stunned silence. He sits down, leans back, and closes his eyes again. This time, the laughter from the group is gone. Instead, there's a sense of quiet reflection in the air. And as Adrian resumes his peaceful relaxation, he knows that he's won more than just a simple argument. He's reminded them of something important. Success isn't about what others think it is. It's about the courage to stand by your own path, no matter how many people try to put you down. Adrian stands tall, the weight of his words still hanging in the air. The group of guests is left in stunned silence, their earlier confidence and mockery replaced by a sudden realization that they may have misjudged the man they had so carelessly belittled. Adrian calmly takes a sip of his iced tea, leaning back into his lounge chair once more, his eyes closed, but his mind sharp and alert. The stillness of the afternoon is almost palpable now, as if the atmosphere itself had shifted. The sound of the wind rustling the leaves in the trees, the distant chirping of birds, and the soft ripple of water in the pool are all that fill the space. For the first time today, Adrian feels a true sense of peace. But this peace is not to last long. The tension among the group of guests is beginning to boil over. One of the men, the same one who had mocked Adrian earlier, can no longer contain his frustration. He steps forward, trying to mask his embarrassment with a forced chuckle, but his voice betrays him. Look, we didn't mean to offend you, okay? It's just that we don't always understand the whole chill and relax lifestyle. He pauses, as if waiting for Adrian to offer an explanation, but Adrian remains silent, letting the man flounder. I mean, sure, you've built your empire, but we're just saying, maybe a little less time by the pool and more time in the office would make a difference, you know? The other guests exchange nervous glances, clearly uncomfortable with the turn of events. They had hoped for a different kind of reaction from Adrian, something more submissive, perhaps, but they weren't getting that. Adrian opens his eyes slowly, turning his gaze toward the man, his expression unreadable. You think that's what it takes? Adrian asks, his tone calm but firm. You think that working yourself into the ground is the only way to build something meaningful? To be successful? The man stutters, his confidence draining away. No, that's not what I meant. Adrian cuts him off with a raised hand. You don't get it. Hard work is important, yes. But so is knowing when to take a step back. So is understanding the value of balance. And most importantly, knowing that success is not defined by how much time you spend slaving away in an office or behind a desk. It's about making smart choices, taking risks, and knowing when to enjoy the fruits of your labor. There's a long silence. The group is finally starting to grasp what Adrian is saying. The man who had tried to belittle him now stands there, looking humbled and unsure. Adrian leans forward, his eyes never leaving the group. If you can't see that, then maybe you're not cut out for the real kind of success. Maybe you're just chasing after the wrong things. The words hang in the air, heavy with meaning. The man looks down at his feet, unable to respond, and slowly walks away from Adrian, his ego bruised. The other guests, who had previously followed his lead, remain silent. Adrian watches them for a moment before looking out over the pool again. He can hear the faint sound of the wind picking up, but there's no longer any mockery in the air. Just the quiet buzz of a shift in perspective. For the first time since the guests arrived, the mood has completely changed. There's no laughter now, no sarcastic remarks, just an uncomfortable stillness, as if everyone is questioning their own approach to life and success. Adrian relaxes back into his chair, a quiet smile playing on his lips. He knows what's coming next. One by one, the group begins to filter away, their conversation subdued, their laughter replaced with tentative apologies and half-formed words of respect. The man who had been the most vocal earlier returns with his tail between his legs, offering a half-hearted apology. Hey, I was out of line earlier. I get it now. You've earned your success. And, I respect that. Adrian looks at him, still with that calm smile. Thanks. But respect doesn't come from apologies. It comes from understanding and learning. And that's the part you'll need to work on. With that, the group finally retreats, leaving Adrian alone by the pool once again. The sun is beginning to dip low in the sky, casting a warm golden glow over the water. Adrian closes his eyes once more, sinking back into the tranquility he had found earlier, his thoughts already turning to the next challenge. But for now, in this moment, he is at peace. This was more than just a small victory. It was a reminder that success isn't always about competing with others. It's about knowing your worth, standing your ground, and proving that your path, no matter how unconventional, can be just as valuable as any other. As the evening falls, Adrian sits alone by the poolside, the last traces of sunlight fading behind the horizon. The group of guests has long since left, their departure quiet, almost apologetic. The once lively yard is now silent, save for the sound of the gentle breeze and the occasional rustle of leaves. Adrian feels the weight of the moment, knowing that his words today had struck deeper than he could have imagined. He knew that sometimes the best way to get people to understand your worth is by showing them through action, not confrontation. But as he relaxes in the stillness, a new thought begins to creep into his mind. Maybe, just maybe, he could take this opportunity to show them something more, something beyond just business or wealth. He had been so focused on proving himself in the corporate world for years, but now, he realized, he had the power to inspire others, to make them see the value of living life on their own terms. As Adrian sinks deeper into his thoughts, the sound of a car pulling up breaks his concentration. He stands up, curious. It's not one of the guests. This is someone new. He walks over to the gate and sees a black sports car pulling into the driveway. The car stops, and out steps a familiar face, his old business partner, Marcus. Marcus, once a key figure in Adrian's rise to success, had always been more than just a colleague. He was a friend, a mentor. But their paths had diverged years ago, each taking their own direction in the business world. Adrian hadn't seen Marcus in months, not since their last heated discussion about the future of their tech company. Adrian had always been the visionary, the one pushing for innovation, while Marcus had been more conservative, focused on maintaining stability. Their differing visions had led to an inevitable fallout. Adrian watches as Marcus walks toward him, his face a mix of surprise and curiosity. "Adrian," Marcus says, a slight smile forming on his lips. "I didn't expect to find you here, relaxing like this." Adrian returns the smile, though there's a glint of seriousness in his eyes. "Life's about balance, Marcus. You should try it sometime." Marcus laughs, but there's an edge of tension in the sound. "I always thought you were the workaholic. Looks like you've changed." Adrian nods, gesturing for Marcus to sit down. "Maybe I have. Maybe I've realized there's more to life than just work. But that doesn't mean I'm not still driven. I just choose to work smarter now, not harder." Marcus raises an eyebrow, intrigued. "Smarter? Care to elaborate?" Adrian leans back in his chair, looking out over the pool, his voice calm but filled with purpose. "You know as well as I do that success doesn't come from how many hours you put in. It's about recognizing opportunities when they come and knowing when to take a step back. We get so caught up in the grind that we forget the most important thing, living. Enjoying the journey." Marcus nods slowly, clearly processing Adrian's words. "That's a good point, Adrian. But you've always been about the next big thing, the next big deal. How do you manage to stay grounded with all the success?" Adrian smiles slightly, a hint of wisdom in his expression. "I stay grounded by remembering where I came from. I didn't start with all this wealth and luxury. I started with nothing but a vision and the will to keep pushing forward. And even now, when everything seems perfect, I remind myself that the real success is in the freedom to live life the way I choose. Not everyone gets that. But I'm lucky, and I don't take that for granted." Marcus sits in silence, reflecting on Adrian's words. After a long pause, he finally speaks, his voice softer. "I've been so focused on making money, on building my empire, that I never stopped to ask myself if it was worth it. Maybe I've been chasing the wrong things. I could use a little more of your balance." Adrian chuckles lightly, his eyes twinkling. "It's never too late to change, Marcus. Life's too short to not enjoy it. And the way I see it, when you can take a step back and truly appreciate what you have, that's when you'll see the real rewards." There's a long silence between them, the weight of the conversation settling in. Adrian watches as Marcus takes a deep breath, clearly weighing his options. "You know," Marcus says slowly, "I think I could learn a lot from you. Maybe we should talk about that next big thing, but this time, let's do it on our terms. Maybe we don't need to kill ourselves in the process." Adrian smiles, a sense of satisfaction washing over him. "That's what I've been trying to tell you all along, Marcus. Success is about more than just the deal. It's about how you live the life you've worked for." The two of them sit there in companionable silence, the stars beginning to twinkle in the night sky. For the first time in a long while, Adrian feels a sense of peace, knowing that his journey isn't just about wealth or power. It's about living fully, enjoying the moments that truly matter, and, most importantly, helping others see that there's more to life than just the endless pursuit of success. As the days pass, Adrian finds himself in a reflective state, the kind of peace that comes not from relaxation but from understanding. He had spent so many years working relentlessly, building his empire, constantly moving toward the next goal. But now, after his conversation with Marcus, something had clicked. He had realized that life wasn't just about achieving success for the sake of success. It was about building a life worth living. The realization brought with it a sense of clarity. He began to see the world differently, not as a battlefield where the strongest survive, but as a place where people could thrive by understanding their true worth and finding balance. This was a lesson he was now eager to share, not just with Marcus, but with others around him. It wasn't enough to just be successful. It was about teaching others how to live fully, to embrace every moment, and to understand that real power comes from within. A few weeks later, Adrian receives a call. It's from Marcus. Adrian, Marcus starts, his voice hesitant but earnest. I've been thinking about what you said, and I'm ready to make a change. Adrian smiles, his instincts telling him that this moment was significant. I'm glad to hear that, Marcus. What are you thinking? Marcus pauses for a moment before responding. I think it's time I step back from the constant hustle. I've been chasing things for so long, deals, numbers, status, but I've realized that I've been missing out on what really matters. I want to find balance, just like you. Adrian nods, his smile widening. It's good to hear you say that. It's never too late to shift your focus. But it's not about stopping the work. It's about shifting your mindset. When you focus on living fully, on what brings you joy, the work doesn't feel like work anymore. There's a pause on the line. Then Marcus speaks again, this time with a hint of excitement in his voice. I want to do something different. I don't know exactly what, but I think I need to find my purpose beyond the corporate world. Maybe I can start something new, something that helps people. Adrian leans back in his chair, looking out over the vast city skyline before him. That sounds like a great idea. Helping people, finding purpose, those are the things that matter most. And you've already got everything you need to make it happen. You've just got to believe in yourself and trust the journey. The two of them talk for a while longer, discussing plans, ideas, and possibilities. For the first time in years, Marcus sounds truly inspired. As the conversation ends, Adrian feels a sense of pride. It wasn't just his wealth or his success that was making an impact. It was his ability to inspire others to see life differently, to understand that wealth is not just about money, but about living a life of purpose and meaning. The next few months pass quickly. Adrian continues to focus on his business ventures, but he also finds time to enjoy life in ways he never had before. He spends more time with his family, takes impromptu trips to places he's always wanted to visit, and learns to embrace the simple joys of life. Meanwhile, Marcus is making strides in his own journey of self-discovery. He starts a nonprofit organization focused on mentorship for young entrepreneurs, helping them understand that success is not just about financial gain, but about personal fulfillment and balance. Marcus's work becomes a reflection of the very lessons Adrian had shared with him. One day, as Adrian sits by the pool once again, reflecting on how far he's come, he receives another call, this time from Marcus. Adrian, Marcus says, his voice filled with excitement. I did it. I launched the program, and already, we've helped dozens of young people find their purpose and start their own businesses. I can't believe how much it's already changing lives. Adrian smiles, feeling a deep sense of pride for his friend. That's amazing, Marcus. I knew you had it in you. You found your purpose. As the conversation continues, Adrian realizes that this was the true meaning of success. It wasn't about how many deals he closed or how much money he made. It was about the impact he had on others, the lives he touched, and the difference he made in the world. And that, he knew, was the most fulfilling success of all. As time passes, Adrian finds himself in a place of unexpected growth. He had started with a goal of wealth and success, but somewhere along the way, he had discovered that his real power came from something deeper, his ability to inspire and guide others to achieve balance in their lives. Adrian still had his business empire, but now, his focus had shifted. He spent less time in boardrooms and more time mentoring, sharing the wisdom he had gained over the years. He wasn't just showing others how to be successful in business. He was teaching them how to live fully, how to find happiness in the process. Meanwhile, Marcus's nonprofit organization had begun to gain traction. The mentorship program he had launched was helping countless young entrepreneurs not only start businesses, but also realize that success wasn't just about making money. It was about making a meaningful impact in the world. Adrian had been instrumental in helping Marcus with the program's vision, and now, the fruits of their work were evident. Young people from all walks of life were starting to believe that they, too, could make a difference. They were learning that the most important thing in business wasn't just building wealth, It was building a life that had purpose. One day, as Adrian was meeting with a new group of mentees, he found himself reflecting on how far he had come. These young entrepreneurs were eager, passionate, and driven, but there was something different about their mindset. They didn't see success as a destination, they saw it as a journey. They weren't focused on the final paycheck or the luxury of success. They were focused on creating something that would have a lasting impact. This was exactly the shift in mindset that Adrian had hoped to inspire. He had wanted to show people that they didn't need to follow the traditional paths of success. They could carve their own way, in a way that truly aligned with their values. That evening, after the meeting, Adrian sat in his office, gazing out at the city skyline. He felt a sense of peace, knowing that he had not only transformed his own life, but also helped others do the same. There was a knock at the door. "Come in," Adrian called, looking up to see Marcus walking in with a big smile on his face. "I've got some great news," Marcus said, his excitement evident. "The mentorship program is taking off. We've just partnered with a few major universities to offer scholarships to students from underprivileged backgrounds. We're going to reach more people than ever before." Adrian's smile widened. "That's incredible, Marcus. You've done an amazing job with this. I'm so proud of what you've created." Marcus shook his head. "We've created this, Adrian. I couldn't have done it without you. Your guidance has meant everything." Adrian looked at Marcus for a moment, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. It wasn't just about business or success anymore. It was about the people they were helping, the lives they were changing. "We've still got a long way to go," Adrian said. "But this is exactly what we set out to do. We're creating a legacy, not just for ourselves, but for everyone we've helped." Marcus nodded, a look of determination in his eyes. "And we're just getting started." Adrian leaned back in his chair, a sense of satisfaction washing over him. He realized that his journey was far from over, but it had changed. He wasn't chasing success anymore. He was living it, every single day. He was sharing his knowledge, empowering others, and most importantly, showing them that there was more to life than just working for the next paycheck. The true reward came from the impact you made, from the lives you touched, and the legacy you left behind. The phone on his desk buzzed, pulling him from his thoughts. It was a message from one of his mentees. "Thanks to you, Adrian, I finally started my business. I've been scared, but you've shown me that it's not just about making money. It's about doing something I love and creating something that matters." Adrian smiled, the words resonating deep within him. This was what it was all about. This was the true meaning of success. As the weeks go by, Adrian's life continues to evolve, the quiet balance he had been striving for now a part of his everyday routine. The success of the mentorship program with Marcus had become a testament to their vision, a vision of transforming the way people looked at success and achievement. The once solitary moments by the pool, where Adrian used to relax and reflect on his journey, had now become spaces for deeper thoughts about how he could continue giving back, not just to his business, but to the world at large. With the program expanding and more young entrepreneurs finding their path, Adrian was finding new ways to engage with the community. He realized that his role had shifted from being the CEO of a growing tech empire to being a mentor, an influencer, a guide. But it wasn't just about business success anymore. It was about the lessons he had learned through years of trial, failure, and eventual success. It was about helping others achieve balance, find their purpose, and truly live. One day, as Adrian sat in his office, reviewing some new proposals for his company, he received a phone call that would alter the course of his path yet again. It was from Olivia, a young woman who had completed the mentorship program Marcus had set up. She had a hesitant but excited tone in her voice as she spoke. "Adrian, I need to thank you. I've just signed my first big client, something I never thought I'd do." Adrian could hear the emotion in her voice, the pride that came with taking that leap of faith, just as he had years ago. "That's amazing, Olivia," Adrian said, leaning back in his chair. "What's the next step for you?" Olivia paused for a moment, her voice quieter now. "I've been thinking about your advice on balance. I've been working hard, yes, but I've also been focusing on creating something that matters. I've realized I don't want just another business. I want to build something that helps people, something that reflects the values you taught me." Adrian smiled, a sense of fulfillment sweeping over him. He had always known that success came in many forms, but hearing Olivia's words made him realize how deeply his message had resonated. "That's exactly what I hoped for, Olivia," It's about doing the work, yes, but also about being intentional with the work. You do. Don't just chase success. Chase purpose. After the call, Adrian felt a sense of satisfaction he hadn't felt in a long time. He had started with a vision of personal success, but now, his vision had expanded. His legacy wasn't just in his business achievements. It was in the people he had helped shape, the lives he had touched, and the impact he had made. The next day, Adrian met with Marcus to discuss the future of their nonprofit and how they could further expand their reach. The impact we're making is growing, Marcus said, his eyes alight with enthusiasm. We're helping young people see success differently, but we need to scale it. We need to reach more people, especially those who don't have the opportunities we did. Adrian nodded thoughtfully, taking in Marcus's words. You're right. We need to focus on creating opportunities that give people the chance to build something meaningful. But it's also about showing them that they can do it on their own terms. We don't want them to feel boxed in. Marcus smiled. Exactly. That's what we've been teaching all along. It's not about following the same formula as everyone else. It's about defining your own path. As they discussed the next steps, Adrian felt a renewed sense of purpose. It wasn't about money or fame anymore. It was about creating a movement, one that encouraged people to live their lives with intention, to build businesses that were not just profitable, but meaningful. They decided to launch a new initiative focused on bringing together aspiring entrepreneurs from underserved communities, helping them not only find funding, but also mentoring, emotional support, and guidance. Adrian knew that the road ahead wouldn't be easy. There would be challenges, and some days would feel like setbacks. But that didn't matter anymore. He had learned that real success was about resilience and growth, about taking on challenges not just for the reward, but for the transformation that came with it. Adrian's journey had come full circle, from a man driven by ambition and external success to someone who now valued balance, purpose, and the impact of his legacy. As he looked back at the path he had walked, he realized that the truest success came from the lives he had touched and the difference he had made, not just for himself, but for others who were now following in his footsteps. His story was no longer just his own. It was part of something bigger, something that would continue to grow and inspire long after he was gone. As Adrian's nonprofit initiative began to gain momentum, he found himself more engaged than ever in the lives of the young entrepreneurs he was mentoring. Each new day brought fresh challenges, but Adrian wasn't the same man he had been years ago. He was no longer focused solely on climbing the ladder of corporate success. Instead, he was deeply invested in helping others find their own paths that allowed them to live their lives with purpose, balance, and fulfillment. One afternoon, Adrian sat down with one of his newest mints, a young woman named Jasmine. She had been in the program for just a few months, but already had an impressive grasp of business principles. Still, there was something weighing on her mind. Adrian, she began, I know how to make the numbers work. I know how to run a business, but I feel like there's something missing. I keep chasing the next deal, the next win, and I don't know if that's what I really want anymore. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. Adrian listened carefully, knowing this was a moment that many people faced at some point in their careers. It wasn't about the technical skills, it was about purpose. Jasmine, he said after a long pause, it's normal to feel that way. So much of our lives are spent chasing the next big thing that we forget to ask ourselves why we're doing it. What drives you deep down? What do you want your business to achieve, not just in terms of money, but in terms of impact? Jasmine looked down, thinking carefully about his question. I guess I've never really asked myself that. I've always been about the numbers, the success, but when I think about it, I want to do something that makes a real difference, not just in my life, but in other people's lives, too. Adrian smiled. That's a powerful realization. And that's where the real work begins, figuring out how to align your goals with your values. It's not about the deals you close or the profits you make. It's about what you leave behind, what kind of impact you have on the world. Think about it. The most successful people in the world aren't the ones who chased after wealth alone. They're the ones who used their success to change lives, to lift others up. Jasmine's eyes lit up as she processed Adrian's words. So, you're saying I don't have to follow the traditional path? I don't have to be obsessed with making the next sale? Adrian shook his head. Exactly. You have the power to create your own path. Success isn't a one-size-fits-all model. If your focus is just on climbing the corporate ladder and increasing profits, you'll always be left wanting more. But if you focus on creating a business that helps others, that solves real problems, you'll find that success follows naturally. You'll also feel more fulfilled along the way. Jasmine smiled, a weight visibly lifting from her shoulders. I think I understand now. It's not about the next deal. It's about the difference I can make. Adrian nodded. Exactly. And when you start to think about success in terms of the lives you impact, not just the money you make, you'll find that everything starts to fall into place. The opportunities, the right people, the right moments, all of them will come when you are aligned with your purpose. Later that evening, Adrian took a moment to reflect on the conversation he had just had, helping Jasmine realize that her true purpose was not bound by conventional measures of success, brought him a sense of fulfillment he had not felt in years. He knew he had been on his own journey to finding purpose and balance, but now, helping others navigate that journey was even more rewarding. His life was no longer just about achievements. It was about teaching others how to live authentically and create businesses that contributed to the greater good. The next day, Marcus called to share more exciting news. Adrian, Marcus said, I think we've finally found our next big opportunity. We've just partnered with a foundation that helps underprivileged students access education and mentorship in business. We're going to provide the same opportunities we've been offering to the people in our program to a whole new group of young people. Adrian's heart swelled with pride. That's incredible, Marcus. I'm so glad to hear that. This is exactly what we've been working toward, a ripple effect, where the impact we make continues to grow and reach more people. Marcus laughed. It's starting to feel like we're creating something much bigger than we ever imagined. And it's all because of the work we've done together, helping others find their purpose and their path. Adrian agreed, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. He had come a long way from the days when he was driven solely by ambition. Now, his success was measured by the lives he had touched and the positive changes he had inspired. As he hung up the phone, Adrian looked out over the city, a feeling of peace settling over him. He had found his purpose, one that wasn't about wealth or status, but about helping others realize their potential and live the lives they were meant to lead. This was the success that truly mattered. Months passed, and Adrian's vision for his nonprofit continued to unfold, steadily growing as more partnerships formed and new opportunities arose. The ripple effect of his work had started to reach farther than he could have imagined. He was no longer just a successful businessman. He was becoming a mentor and a guide for the next generation of entrepreneurs. His life had evolved from the pursuit of financial success to the fulfillment of creating something meaningful. It wasn't just about the companies he had built or the wealth he had accumulated. It was about empowering others to do the same, on their own terms. Adrian had learned that the true measure of success wasn't how many zeros were on your paycheck, but how many lives you touched along the way. That evening, after a long day of meetings, Adrian sat by the pool once again, the setting sun casting a golden glow over the water. He reflected on everything that had brought him to this point, the struggles, the victories, and the countless lessons learned along the way. Just as he was about to relax, his phone buzzed with a message. It was from Jasmine, one of his ments. Adrian, I need to talk. Can we meet? The urgency in her message piqued his curiosity. He quickly responded, agreeing to meet the next day at his office. The following morning, Jasmine arrived, looking a little worn out but determined. She took a seat across from Adrian, her eyes filled with both excitement and concern. Adrian, I've been thinking about what you said, about living with purpose. I realized I've been chasing the wrong thing. I've been so focused on making money that I didn't stop to ask myself if what I was doing was really making a difference. Adrian listened quietly, knowing this was the moment of realization that many entrepreneurs faced. I'm glad you're having this realization, Adrian said gently. What's on your mind now? Jasmine took a deep breath, her hands clasped in front of her. I want to change the direction of my business. I'm not just here to make a profit. I want to create something that actually impacts people's lives in a positive way. Adrian's face softened with pride. That's exactly what I was hoping you'd say, Jasmine. When you align your business with your purpose, the rest will follow. Success becomes about more than just the money. It becomes about the legacy you create. Jasmine nodded, a sense of clarity washing over her. I've spent so much time trying to prove myself, trying to live up to expectations. But now, I want to prove something else, to myself. I want to show that I can build a business that's successful not just financially, but in terms of how it contributes to society. Adrian smiled warmly, feeling a deep connection to Jasmine's words. You're on the right track. It's never easy to make that shift, but the impact you'll make will be far greater than anything you've ever imagined. And you're not alone in this. I'll be here to support you every step of the way. Over the next few months, Jasmine put her plans into action. She redefined her business model, aligning it with her newfound purpose of giving back to her community. She started partnering with local organizations, providing resources and mentorship to aspiring entrepreneurs who lack the opportunities she once had. Slowly but surely, her business began to thrive, not just in revenue, but in the way it was helping others. The success wasn't measured by the bottom line anymore. It was measured by the lives she was changing. Adrian watched from the sidelines, deeply proud of the transformation Jasmine had undergone. But he also knew that this wasn't just about her. It was a shift in the mindset of everyone involved in the mentorship program. The goal was no longer just success in business, but success in life, measured by the positive change people could create. One afternoon, as Adrian was reflecting on how far they had come, Marcus called him with some exciting news. Adrian, we've just secured a partnership with a global foundation. They want to work with us to scale our mentorship program worldwide. This could be the breakthrough we've been waiting for. Adrian's heart raced with excitement. That's incredible, Marcus. This is exactly what we've been working toward, taking everything we've built and making a global impact. Marcus agreed, his voice filled with enthusiasm. We're going to change the game, Adrian. We're going to show the world that true success is about more than just profits. It's about creating something that lasts, something that uplifts others. As Adrian hung up the phone, he sat back, feeling a sense of accomplishment. This wasn't just about his success or Marcus's success. This was about the success of a movement that was now reaching people on a global scale. Adrian had gone from a man focused on personal achievement to a man focused on building something far more impactful, a legacy of mentorship, empowerment, and positive change. And as he looked toward the future, he knew that the work was just beginning. The world was ready for this shift, and Adrian, with the support of those around him, was leading the charge. As the global mentorship program expanded, Adrian felt an overwhelming sense of pride and gratitude. The momentum they had built was undeniable. Marcus's call about the international partnership had been the catalyst for a new chapter, one that would change lives on a scale neither of them had ever imagined. Adrian had spent years chasing success, but now, he realized that the true rewards came from helping others unlock their potential. It wasn't the billions in revenue or the fame that mattered. It was the impact, the stories of young entrepreneurs whose lives had been transformed through the program. They had all started with little more than a dream, and now, they were on their way to making that dream a reality. Adrian was no longer just a businessman. He was a leader, a guide, and a part of something far bigger than himself. One evening, as he walked through the bustling city streets, reflecting on everything that had changed, he realized how much he had grown. His journey had been filled with lessons, some learned the hard way, some through the quiet moments of reflection by the pool, others through the powerful conversations he had had with his mates. Each of those moments had shaped him into the person he had become. He had learned that success wasn't a linear path. It wasn't about simply climbing higher or accumulating more wealth. It was about embracing challenges, learning from failures, and knowing when to step back and focus on what truly mattered. As Adrian stood on the balcony of his penthouse, overlooking the city skyline, he couldn't help but think about how far he had come. The tech empire he had built was still thriving, but it was now accompanied by a sense of fulfillment he hadn't known was possible. He wasn't just running a business, he was running a movement, one that encouraged others to pursue their passions and build something meaningful. His phone buzzed, snapping him out of his thoughts. It was a message from Jasmine, one of his first and most successful mates. Adrian, I wanted to share something with you. I just signed a partnership deal with a major healthcare provider. It's a huge step for me, and I couldn't have done it without your guidance. Adrian smiled as he read the message. Jasmine's success was a direct reflection of the values they had all been working toward, creating a business that wasn't just about making money, but about making a difference. It wasn't the kind of partnership deal that would make headlines, but to Jasmine, it was the culmination of years of hard work, dedication, and a shift in mindset. I knew you could do it, Adrian replied, feeling a deep sense of pride for the young entrepreneur. As the day turned to night, Adrian sat down to write an email to his mentees, letting them know how proud he was of each and every one of them. The email wasn't about business deals or the progress of the program. It was about how far they had all come together. Remember, he wrote, success is not just about what you achieve, but about how you change the lives of those around you. Keep pushing forward, keep dreaming big, and most importantly, keep lifting others up along the way. The world needs your impact, and I'm honored to be a part of your journey. As Adrian sent the email, he took a moment to reflect on the last few years. The lessons, the people, and the growth. He had built an empire, yes, but the real legacy was the difference he had made in the lives of others. It wasn't about the millions he had earned, the businesses he had founded, or the accolades he had received. It was about the hearts he had touched and the lives he had changed. And as he looked toward the future, he knew the journey was far from over. There would be more challenges, more opportunities, and more moments of growth ahead. But this time, he wasn't just focused on his own success. He was focused on helping others achieve theirs, knowing that the true measure of success wasn't about what you had, but about what you gave. Adrian had found his purpose, and in doing so, he had created a legacy that would live on far beyond his own accomplishments. In this inspiring Black story, follow Adrian, a successful businessman who transitions from chasing personal success to building a legacy focused on empowering others. His journey of transformation begins with the realization that true success is not just about wealth, but about the impact you have on others. As he mentors young entrepreneurs, Adrian learns that the key to success lies in balance, purpose, and helping others unlock their potential. Throughout his journey, Adrian not only builds a global mentorship program, but also helps his mentees, like Jasmine, realize their own purpose beyond financial success. These Black stories highlight the power of mentorship, resilience, and finding one's true calling in life. The story of Adrian's evolution shows that success can be measured by the positive changes you bring to the world. From a tech empire to a nonprofit that helps aspiring entrepreneurs, this Black story is a testament to the strength of vision, purpose, and the importance of making a difference. Adrian's journey proves that the most meaningful success comes from living a life that empowers others and leaves a lasting legacy, far beyond personal achievements. His work continues to inspire others, proving that when you live with purpose and teach others to do the same, the world becomes a better place for all.